Let's get it on. Ooh, let's get it on. Morning, guys. Good morning, everybody. This is Trev from Trevessence. How is everybody doing this morning? Hope everybody's having a fabulous, 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 and fantastic morning. It is Wednesday, April 26th, I believe. And we are going to be reading from the book of Deuteronomy this morning, chapters 31 to 32 and 33. If you are new here, I want to say a very, very special welcome to you. Thank you so much for stopping by. And if you are a returning traveler, I want to say thank you for your continued support. Now, let us begin. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 31. God giveth a charge to Joshua. God giveth a charge to Joshua. Verse 31. And Moses went and spake these words unto all Israel. And he said unto them, I am 120 years old this day. I can no more go out and come in. Also, the Lord had said unto me, Thou shalt not go over this Jordan. All right, Moses said, the Lord tell him, saying, shall not go over Jordan because he's 120 years old. So does that mean that Moses reached? Hold on. I'm going to pick that back up some other time. Give me a second. Verse 3. The Lord thy God, he will go over before thee, and he will destroy these nations from before thee, and thou shalt possess them. And Joshua, he shall go over before thee, as the Lord hath said. And the Lord shall do unto them as he did to Sihon and to Og, kings of the Amorites, and unto the land of them whom he destroyed. And the Lord shall give them up before your face, that ye may do unto them according unto all the commandments which I have commanded you. Okay, so remember now, we talk about the commandments as being those 10 commandments that Moses supposedly got written on a stone. But remember, the children of Israel had commandments after commandments after commandments to follow. Because right here in verse 5, it says, And the Lord shall give them up before your face, that he may do unto them according unto all the commandments which I have commanded you. Meaning, he's going to give them up to them for them to slaughter them and take what they have. Because that Moses claimed was also a commandment that God supposedly gave to him for the children of Israel, that they shall slay their enemies. Anybody who rise up against them, they shall slay them. And they were commanded to slay all the men, take the women and the young ones, etc., etc. Verse 6 says, Be strong and of good courage. Fear not, nor be afraid of them. For the Lord thy God, he it is that doth go with thee. He will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. And Moses called unto Joshua and said unto him in the sight of all Israel, Be strong and of a good courage, for thou must go with this people unto the land which the Lord hath sworn unto their fathers to give them, and thou shalt cause them to inherit it. So they claim that the Lord swore to them that he was going to give them this land, which was supposedly the land of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So when they returned from Egypt, everybody who was occupying those lands, they were instructed to slay them and take that land because the Lord had promised them that land. And the Lord, he is it that doth go before thee. He will be with thee. He will not fail thee, neither forsake thee. Fear not, neither be dismayed. And Moses wrote this law and delivered it unto the priests, the sons of Levi, which bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and unto all the elders of Israel. And Moses commanded them, saying, at the end of every 7 years, in the solemnity of the year of release, in the feast of tabernacles, when all Israel is come to appear before the Lord thy God in the place which he shall choose, thou shalt read this law before all Israel in their hearing. Gather the people together, men, women, and children, and thy stranger that is within thy gates, that they may hear, and that they may learn, and fear the Lord your God, and observe to do all the words of this law, and that their children, which have not known anything, may hear, and learn to fear the Lord your God, as long as ye live in the land whither ye go over Jordan to possess it. And the Lord said unto Moses, behold, thy days approach that thou must die. Call Joshua, and present yourselves in the tabernacle of the congregation, that I may give him a charge. And Moses and Joshua went, and presented themselves in the tabernacle of the congregation. And the Lord appeared in the tabernacle in a pillar of a cloud, and the pillar of the cloud stood over the door of the tabernacle. And the Lord said unto Moses, behold, thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, and this people will rise up, and be a whoring after the gods of the strangers of the land, whither they go to be among them, and will forsake me, and break my covenant which I have made with them. Then my anger shall be kindled, and I will hide my face from them, and they shall be devoured, and many evils and troubles shall befall them, so that they will say in that day, are not these evils come upon us, because our God is not among us? And I will surely hide my face in that day for all the evils which they shall have wrought, in that they are turned unto other gods. Now therefore write ye this song for you, and teach it to the children of Israel. Put it in their mouths, that this song may be a witness for me against the children of Israel. For when I shall have brought them into the land which I swear unto their fathers, that floweth with milk and honey, and they shall have eaten and filled themselves and waxen fat, then will they turn unto other gods and serve them, and provoke me, and break my covenant. The Lord is supposedly speaking to Moses in the tabernacle, and saying that the children of Israel, sort of prophesying that the children of Israel are going to turn against him. After Moses dies, the children of Israel are going to turn against him. They are going to start serving other gods and doing all vile things that they were commanded not to do. And because of that, he was going to be so angry with them. He was going to smite them. Verse 21, and it shall come to pass, when many evils and troubles are befallen them, that this song shall testify against them as a witness, for it shall not be forgotten out of the mouth of their seed. For I know their imagination, which they go about, even now, before I have brought them into the land which I swear. Moses therefore wrote this song the same day, and taught it to the children of Israel. And he gave Joshua the son of Nun a charge, and said, be strong and of good courage, for thou shalt bring the children of Israel into the land which I swear unto thee, and I will be with thee. And it came to pass, when Moses had made an end of writing the words of this law in a book, until they were finished, that Moses commanded the Levites, which bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord, saying, Take this book of the law and put it in the side of the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God, that it may be there for a witness against thee. For I know thy rebellion and thy stiff neck. Behold, while I am yet alive with you this day, ye have been rebellious against the Lord. And how much more after my death? Gather unto me all the elders of your tribes and your officers, that I may speak these words in their ears, and call heaven and earth to record against them. For I know that after my death he will utterly corrupt themselves, and turn aside from the way which I have commanded you. And evil will befall you in the latter days, because ye will do evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger through the work of your hands. And Moses spake in the ears of all the congregation of Israel the words of this song, until they were ended. Here ended the reading of Deuteronomy chapter 31. Now, in this chapter, we read where Moses and Joshua are gone into the tabernacle. Moses is 120 years old, and he's now concerned that he's going to pass away, and the children of Israel are going to turn their backs against God. The Lord has asked him to take Joshua, because Joshua is supposedly going to take over from Moses. Says, take Joshua into the tabernacle. We're going to have a little talk. And that's what happened. And when they got there, the Lord came down supposedly as a cloudy pillar and hung over the door of the tabernacle and told Moses and Joshua how the children of Israel, he knew they were stiff-necked, and he believed that they were going to, but win some, win some. No, some can't sleep. And the children of Israel were going to turn their backs on him. If they had turned their backs on him while Moses was alive, imagine when Moses dies, they are going to start really acting out. And so he said his revenge, he was going to deal with them really, really, strongly. He was going to punish them severely, because he knows that's what they were going to do. Let us move on to chapter 32. Welcome into the live, everyone. If you are just coming, don't forget to hit the like button and share out the live stream. Invite everyone else to come on in and listen to the reading of the Bible from a layman's point of view. Chapter 32 of the book of Deuteronomy. Give ear, O ye heavens, and I will speak, and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. My doctrine shall drop on the rain, my speech shall distill on the dew, as the small rain upon the tender herb, and as the showers upon the grass. Because I will publish the name of the Lord, ascribe he greatness unto our God. He is the rock, his work is perfect. They have corrupted themselves. Their spot is not the spot of his children. They are a perverse and crooked generation. Do he thus requite the Lord? Do he thus requite the Lord, O foolish people and unwise? Many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee, thy elders, and they will tell thee. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. He found him in the desert land and in the waste howling wilderness. He led him about. He instructed him. He kept him as the apple of his eye. As an eagle stirreth up her nest, fluttering over her young, spreading abroad her wings, taketh them, beareth them on her wings. So the Lord alone did lead him, and there was no strange God with him. He made him ride on the high places of the earth, that he might eat the increase of the fields, and he made him to suck honey out of the rock, and oil out of the flinty rock, butter of kine, and milk of sheep, with fat of lambs, and rams of the breed of Bashan, and goats with the fat of kidneys of wheat. And thou didst drink the pure blood of the grape. You know, the pure blood of the grape means the grape juice. But Jeshurun waxed fat and kicked. Thou art waxen fat, thou art grown thick, thou art covered with fatness. Then he forsook God, which made him, and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation. They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods, with abominations provoked him to anger. They sacrificed unto devils, not to God, to gods whom they knew not, to new gods that came newly up, whom their fathers feared not. Of the rock that begot thee, thou art unmindful, and hast forgotten God that formed thee. Verse 19. And when the Lord saw it, he abhorred them, because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters. And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be, for they are a very froward people, children in whom is no faith. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. For a fire is kindled in mine anger, and shall burn unto the lowest hell, and shall consume the earth with her increase, and set on fire the foundations of the mountains. I will heap mischiefs upon them. I will spend mine arrows upon them. They shall be burnt with anger, and devoured with burning heat, and with bitter destruction. I will also send the teeth of beasts upon them, with the poison of serpents of the dust. The sword without, the terror within, shall destroy both the young man and the virgin, the suckling also with man of gray hairs. I said, I would scatter them into corners. I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. Were it not that I fear the wrath of the enemy, lest their adversities, and lest their adversaries should behave themselves strangely, and lest they should say, Our hand is high, and the Lord hath not done all this. For they are a nation void of counsel, neither is there any understanding in them. Verse 29. Oh, that they were wise, that they understood this, that they would consider their latter end. How should one chase 1,000, and two put 2,000 to flight, except their rock had sold them, and the Lord had shut them up? For their rock is not as our rock, even our enemies themselves being judges. For their vine is of the vine of Sodom, and of the fields of Gomorrah. Their grapes are grapes of gall, their clusters are bitter. You know, as I was reading, guys, you heard me, pause a little bit, because I was thinking as I was reading that this has to be the curse of this current generation. It has to be. And here, as I read verse 32, it says, "For their vine is of the vine of Sodom and of the fields of Gomorrah. Their grapes are grapes of gall." That means your grapes are bitter. Your grapes are not succulent, are not grapes that anybody wants to eat. The clusters of your grapes are bitter. And me say, this is the book of Deuteronomy. And this is the warning the Lord is giving to Moses. He's giving it to Moses and Joshua in the tabernacle, talking about how he believed the children of Israel are going to turn their backs on him because they are stiff-necked. They don't do the right thing. All of these laws and statutes that they have been given to live by, he knows that they are going to abandon them. They are going to forsake them in the future. And he's going to be so angry at them. He's going to allow serpents to bite them. He's going to allow the beast of the field to eat them. He's going to allow them to suffer from hunger and starvation and you name it. He's going to allow it because he knows that they are a stiff-necked people and they have gone against him. Verse 33, "Their wine is the poison of dragons and the cruel venom of asps. Is not this laid up in store with me and sealed up among my treasures? To me belongeth vengeance and recompense. Their foot shall slide in due time, for the day of their calamity is at hand, and the things that shall come upon them make haste. For the Lord shall judge his people and repent himself for his servants when he sees that their power is gone and there is none shut up or left. And he shall say, Where are their gods, their rock in whom they trusted, which did eat the fat of their sacrifices and drank the wine of their drink offerings? Let them rise up and help you and be your protection. See now that I, even I, am he, and there is no God with me. I kill, and I make alive. I wound, and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. For I lift up my hand to heaven and say, I live forever. If I whet my glittering sword, and my hand take hold of judgment, I will render vengeance to mine enemies, and will reward them that hate me. I will make my arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh, and that with the blood of the slain and of the captives, from the beginning of revenges upon the enemy. Rejoice, O ye nations, with his people, for he will avenge the blood of his servants, and will render vengeance to his adversaries, and will be merciful unto his land and to his people. And Moses came and spake all the words of his song in the ears of the people, he and Hosea, the son of Nun. All right, so Hosea, Hosea, the son of Nun. Remember, Joshua was also the son of Nun. So is he talking about Joshua or is he talking about somebody related to Joshua? We're going to have to figure that out. Because Joshua is the son of Nun. And now he's talking about Hosea, the son of Nun. And Moses made an end of speaking all these words to all Israel. And he said unto them, Set your hearts unto all the words which I testify among you this day, which he shall command your children to observe to do, all the words of this law. For it is not a vain thing for you, because it is your life. And through this thing he shall prolong your days in the land, whither he go over Jordan to possess it. And the Lord spake unto Moses that self same day, saying, Get thee up into this mountain, Abraham. Verse 49. Get thee up into this mountain, Abraham, unto Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab, that is over against Jericho, and behold the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Israel for a possession. All right. So remember Moses and the children of Israel had conquered the land of the Moabites. And they're still there because remember they had slain all the men and taken over the land. And now the Lord is saying to him, Get thee up into this mountain, Abraham. That's the name of the mountain. Abarim, Abarim, unto Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab, that is over against Jericho, and behold the land of Canaan. Remember, Moses is only looking over the land of Canaan, but he ain't going to reach there. Which I give unto the children of Israel for a possession, and die in the mount whither thou goest up, and be gathered unto thy people, as Aaron thy brother died in Mount Hor, and was gathered unto his people. Because he trespassed against me among the children of Israel at the waters of Meribah Kadesh, in the wilderness of Zin, because he sanctified me not in the midst of the children of Israel. Yet thou shalt see the Lord before thee, but thou shalt not go thither unto the land which I give the children of Israel. So here it appears as though Moses was being punished. Moses, even though he was being led by God, as he said, he was being led by the Lord, and he was the chosen one that was given all the statutes and laws for the children of Israel. But here in his last days, he was being punished for transgressions that he had committed while they were on their way from Egypt. Transgressions that he had committed while they were in the wilderness. Here in verse 51, in chapter 32, verse 51 of Deuteronomy, he said to Moses, Because he trespassed against me among the children of Israel at the waters of Meribah Kadesh, in the wilderness of Zin, because he sanctified me not in the midst of the children of Israel. So Moses is being punished. Verse 52, this is the last verse of chapter 32. Yet thou shalt see the land before thee, but thou shalt not go thither unto the land which I give the children of Israel. Chapter 33. Let's move right along. And this is the blessing wherewith Moses, the man of God, blessed the children of Israel before his death. And he said, The Lord came from Sinai and rose up from Seir unto them. He shined forth from Mount Paran, and he came with 10,000s of saints. From his right hand went a fiery law for them. Yea, he loved the people. All his saints are in thy hand, and they sat down at thy feet. Every one shall receive of thy words. Moses commanded us a law, even the inheritance of the congregation of Jacob. And he was king of Jeshurun, when the heads of the people and the tribes of Israel were gathered together. Let Reuben live and not die, and let not his men be few. Remember, Reuben is the first son of Jacob. And this is the blessing of Judah. And he said, Hear, Lord, the voice of Judah, and bring him unto his people. Let his hands be sufficient for him, and be thou an help to him from his enemies. And of Levi he said, Let thy Thummim, remember this came up again, let thy Thummim and thy Urim be with thy Holy One, whom thou didst prove at Massah, and with whom thou didst strive at the waters of Meribah. Remember the Thummim and the Ummim? Those are the yes and the no rocks. One the white rock and the black rock. One representing yes and one representing no. We read about that when we read the Alchemist. Let thy Thummim and thy Urim be with thy Holy One, whom thou didst prove at Massah, and with whom thou didst strive at the waters of Meribah. Who said unto his father and to his mother, I have not seen him, neither did he acknowledge his brethren, nor knew his own children. For they have observed thy word, and kept thy covenant. Verse 10, They shall teach Jacob thy judgments, and Israel thy law. They shall put incense before thee, and whole burnt sacrifice upon thine altar. Bless, Lord, his substance, and accept the word of his hands. Smite through the loins of them that rise against him, and of them that hate him, that they rise not again. And of Benjamin he said, the beloved of the Lord shall dwell in safety by him, and the Lord shall cover him all the day long. Let's go again. Verse 12. And of Benjamin he said, the beloved of the Lord shall dwell in safety by him, and the Lord shall cover him all the day long, and he shall dwell between his shoulders. And of Joseph he said, blessed of the Lord be his land, for the precious things of heaven, for the dew, and for the deep that coucheth beneath, and for the precious fruits brought forth by the sun, and for the precious things put forth by the moon, and for the chief things of the ancient mountains, and for the precious things of the lasting hills, and for the precious things of the earth, and fullness thereof, and for the goodwill of him that dwelt in the bush. Let the blessing come upon the head of Joseph, and upon the top of the head of him that was separated from his brethren. His glory is like the firstling of his bullock, and his horns are like the horns of unicorns. With them he shall push the people together to the ends of the earth. And they are the 10,000s of Ephraim, and they are the thousands of Manasseh. And of Zebulun he said, rejoice, Zebulun, in thy going out, and Issachar in thy tents. They shall call the people unto the mountain. There they shall offer sacrifices of righteousness, for they shall suck of the abundance of the seas, and of treasures hid in the sand. And of God he said, God meaning that Jacob's son that was called Gad, God. And of God he said, blessed be he that enlargeth God. He dwelleth as a lion, and teareth the arm with the crown of the head. And he provided the first part of him for himself, because there, in a portion of the lawgiver, was he seated, and he came with the heads of the people. He executed the justice of the Lord, and his judgments with Israel. And of Dan he said, Dan is a lion's whelp, he shall leap from Bashan. And of Naphtali he said, O Naphtali, satisfied with favor, and full with the blessing of the Lord, possess thou the west and the south. And of Asher he said, Let Asher be blessed with children. Let him be acceptable to his brethren, and let him dip his foot in oil. Thy shoe shall be iron and brass, and as thy days, so shall thy strength be. There is none like unto the God of Jeshurun, who rideth upon the heaven in thy help, and in his excellence on the sky. The eternal God is thy refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms, and he shall thrust out the enemy from before thee, and shall say, Destroy them. Israel then shall dwell in safety alone. The mountain of Jacob shall be upon a land of corn and wine. Also his heavens shall drop down dew. Verse 29, and this is the last verse of the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 33. Happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee, O people saved by the Lord, the shield of thy help, and who is the sword of thy excellency? And thine enemies shall be found liars unto thee, and thou shalt tread upon their high places. Here ends the reading of the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 33. Now, this morning we read chapters 31, 32, and 33. One thing we need to go find out whether Hoshea, Hoshea, and Joshua are brothers. So before I go, let me tap into Google here and see if Google will give me an answer. If Joshua and Hosea are the same person. Okay. So according to Google, for those of you who are listening, according to Google, it says his name was Hoshea, the son of Nun, of the tribe of Ephraim, but Moses called him Joshua, the name by which he is commonly known in English. Okay, so Joshua and Yeshua, that's the same person. So here we have the clarification that we sought, according to Google. So we will be reminded when we read again that Joshua and Hosea is in fact the same person. All right, that's going to be the end of the Bible reading for this morning, my friends. I want to say thanks to you all for coming in. Thank you all for listening. I really enjoy bringing the Bible reading to you, and I hope you all enjoy listening to it. Join me again tomorrow morning when we read additional chapters of the book of, well, come to think about it, I didn't even realize that the book of Deuteronomy has 34 chapters. So therefore, we are going to read this last chapter. Why not? Let's read chapter 34 of the book of Deuteronomy. And Moses went up from the plains of Moab onto the mountain of Nebo to the top of Pisgah, that is over against Jericho. And the Lord shewed him all the land of Gilead, unto Dan, and all Naphtali, and the land of Ephraim, and Manasseh, and all the land of Judah, unto the utmost sea, and the south, and the plain of the valley of Jericho, the city of palm trees, unto Zoar. And the Lord said unto him, This is the land which I swear unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob, saying, I will give it unto thy seed. I have caused thee to see it with thine own eyes, but thou shalt not go over thither. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord. And they buried him in a valley in the land of Moab, over against Beth Peor. But no man knoweth of his sepulchre unto this day. No man knoweth the sepulchre of Moses. So Moses bury himself and hide himself? So who buried him? Who buried him? Because he sure didn't bury himself. And Moses was 120 years old when he died. His eyes was not dim, nor his natural force abated. That means Moses didn't go blind, and Moses was able to move around. His natural force hasn't gone abated. And the children of Israel wept for Moses in the plains of Moab for 30 days. So the days of weeping and mourning for Moses were ended. And Joshua, the son of Nun, was full of the spirit of wisdom, for Moses had laid his hands upon him. And the children of Israel hearkened unto him, and did as the Lord commanded Moses. And there arose not a prophet since in Israel like unto Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. In all the signs and the wonders which the Lord sent him to do in the land of Egypt to Pharaoh, and to all his servants, and to all his land. Verse 12. And in all that mighty hand, and in all the great terror which Moses shewed in the sight of all Israel. Here ended the reading of the book of Deuteronomy. That is the funny thing. But here it says now that, remember before we read it said that his eyes were growing dim. Honestly, said the Bible full of controversy. I remember when I was thinking about it. That's why I was pausing, like puzzled, like, didn't we read before that Moses' eyes were going dim? But here it says in Deuteronomy that he died, his eyes was not dim, and his natural force was not abated. So what was it? He was going blind or he wasn't going blind? He was weak or he wasn't weak? Why them say one thing before and then now they say something else? But anyway, that's the Bible for you guys. Because you know what? They are counting on you never reading the entire book. They are counting on you reading only snippets and forgetting it, and only remember some verses and forgetting others. I'm going to find that verse again. I'm sure I have it written down somewhere, or I have it marked in the Bible. I will search for it, where it said that Moses' eyes were dim and he was weak when he died upon Mount Pisgah. But anyway, Moses died at the age of 120. I don't understand how they say until this day nobody know the sepulchre. Nobody know of his sepulchre. I don't know about that one, my friends. Did they just bury Moses and decided not to mark his grave? They're just going to bury him, get rid of him, and not mark his grave so nobody would use it as a shrine? Is that what it is? I'm not sure. But we will find out, I guess, as we continue reading the Bible. We are going to come across lots and lots of discoveries. When we come back tomorrow, we are going to be reading the book of Joshua, the covenant between Rahab and the spies in Exodus. In Exodus, win some, yes. I will go right back to Exodus later on today and try to find it, so that we can put the two together and see what in the world they were talking about then and what are they talking about now. Because this is the book that we are following with our daily lives. Therefore, it should be precise, concise, and truthful, right? All right. It shouldn't be conflicting and contradicting itself and having us reading it and following it, not knowing whether we should go left or right. But anyway, that's going to be the end of the reading for today, my friends. Until we meet again tomorrow morning, This is Trevessence. This is Trev from Trevessence, where your journey matters. I had a great time this morning, guys, and I hope you did too. Have yourselves a great day. Sister Winsome, I will see you later, my love. Have yourself a great day, and the others in the chat.